Alright, this is 21195 301 in Wellington. We've got a decently large property, and they are wanting a mow quote, spring cleanup, potentially mulch, and like some spraying. So this is going to be the video for the mowing. Yeah, because this is going to have a lot of information. Starting right up around the house here, they preferred to do the 52. The last company uses like a 72 maybe, and they're rutting up the property. So they did say that this area tends to stay wet in the spring, so just be mindful of that. The ruts are a big issue for them. So we've got all around the house, and I'll walk all the way up to the street, all the way through here, and you'll see some ruts. They mow through it, whether it's wet or not. Obviously, string trimming too. We've got this whole section here. String trimming around the trees as well, and then I'll walk up because we've got pastures that they do. There's some areas that they want on a bi-weekly basis, so it's going to be interesting. So we're going to be mowing along both sides of the driveway, string trimming around all the trees. These rocks here, they want them sprayed every other month, but then if we can just string trim maybe every other week or so, if it needs it, just string trim the tall stuff down. There isn't a set schedule on it, just as long as it stays maintained. So you can see through here where this stays wet, and the mow crews are just absolutely tearing up the grass. So we just need to be mindful of that after it rains and in the spring. Same here. They said this all used to be grass, but they're just rutting it up. So we're going to mow around the pond as well. And then he cuts inside the pasture. We are strictly just cutting around it. So the property goes all the way up to the street. And then there's areas we can hit with the mower, but then there's areas like a ditch line that they string trim maybe once a month. So I need to keep that in mind for like payments. But we've got rows of trees all the way up. We need to mow all that. I don't feel like walking all the way over there. On a bi-weekly basis, we are going to be string trimming around each one of these poles. So I'll make sure to bump up the budgeted hours for that. We just want to keep this kind of maintained. This all gets mowed. And then typically when we're going to be string trimming the pasture poles, we're going to be string trimming around these trees. So on a bi-weekly basis, we're just going to be hitting these trees to keep it maintained. There is a section of wildflowers along here, which I'll show you, that they only want mowed down twice a year. So typically they get it mowed down sometime in July, and then usually like the last mow of the season. So this area here, you can kind of see where they mow up to. But this area here, they're going to keep wild for the bees. She's a beekeeper. And then twice a year we'll hit that. And then on this side, she said the team hasn't really been hitting this area, but this needs to be string trimmed on this side every other week. All these trees as well. Over here too. And then we need to be checking. We've got some tall weeds along the pond as well that we need to maintain. So we'll be able to get a mower through here. Again, you can see where they're rutting it up. But this rock line every other week, if it needs it, make sure we're string trimming that as well. And we're mowing, and we're mowing, and we're string trimming around that, and we're string trimming around the trees, and the trees. Whew, getting my steps in today. This area here too, you can kind of see this is another wildflower patch. So when we're doing the 2 cuts a season, this will be included in that. So we'll let this grow free for the bees. And then in the end of July or so, we'll cut it. And then at the end of the season, we'll cut it. This pasture area too is included, not the inside. Homeowner cuts inside the pastures, but we need to make sure we're cutting around it, and it goes all the way up to the street. On a bi-weekly basis, we're also going to be string trimming the fence poles. Same with that. Fence poles every other week, but we're going to be mowing around it on a weekly basis. So there are some areas where we can probably use a bigger mower. We just have to be careful. And then there's going to be some areas where we use maybe a 52 or smaller. Make sure too we're maintaining this side. We're string trimming along all the trees. We've got this whole portion. String trimming along the pool deck and all the beds. That leads back to the driveway. We kind of just did a big circle. So we're cutting and trimming around all of this, around the shed here. And then we have a small gated in yard. We are cutting inside of that as well. So we'll probably need a smaller mower for that. We're going to need a smaller mower in here for around the garden area. Might be easier just to either string trim or push mow that. I'm trying to find a gate. Where is the gate? Oh, gate's there. Is that a double? Yes, we got a double gate here, so that's good. All through here, all around the barn, all through here. And then this fence too, same pasture. On a bi-weekly basis, we're going to be trimming around those fence posts. This whole area and trimming. And this. And then, what did she say about the driveway? Maybe once every other month, we're going to be spraying the driveway for weeds all the way down. So I need to make sure that I'm quoting for that as well. I think that's it.